interfacing devices like serial interface device, parallel interface device. We discussed about DMA controller, programmable peripheral interface, keyboard and display interface, and timer bar controller. So various devices we have discussed. All these are interfacing devices that are necessary to interface your 8086 with outside environment. Okay. So now using these devices, we'll be seeing what are the interfacing case studies for different applications. Okay. So first we'll start with A to D and D to A converter. Okay. So just a minute, I will present. Okay, fine. So first we'll start with D to A converter, okay, and then or A to D converter, what it may be. So we'll start with A to D converter. So what do you mean by A to D converter? Or why it is required for a microprocessor? So what do you mean by so have you ever heard of this term A to D converter? So A to D means it stands for very good analog to digital signal. Okay, fine. So why it is required in case for any microprocessor, we need A to D converter. So what is the reason for it? Very simple reason. So we all know that what type of signals your microprocessor will accept. Yeah, digital signals. Okay, fine. So digital. So obviously, no, we all know that what your microprocessor will work only for digital signals. Okay, will work on digital signals. But practically, no, there are many applications where inputs will not be digital. So it may be what analog. So most of the cases in industrial applications, if you go means many applications. Analog devices may be interfaced. Has to be what interfaced to a digital system. So when that is the case, so what happens? So digital devices like microprocessor, it cannot accept the analog signals directly. So there is a need for converting these analog signals into what equivalent digital signals or data. We call it as what data. So for that we need an interface, usually called as what A to D interface. Okay. So for this purpose, we go for what A to D converter, analog to digital converter. Okay. So analog to digital converter is almost similar or reverse process of digital to analog converter. We'll see digital to D to A converter later, maybe after this. Okay. So the A to D conversion, we call it as what? Quantization. Normally we call it as what? Quantization. So which means what? Each analog signal no, will be represented by its equivalent binary data. So since we are going to quantize the values of the analog signals, we call it as what? Quantization. Okay. So any signal, any analog signal, if you want to convert it into what binary, no, we have two steps to be performed. One we call it as sampling, other one called as what quantization. So that's what I was saying. So A to D conversion usually called as what quantization, since the analog signals are usually represented by its equivalent binary data. So you all know that analog signals they usually vary continuously. So we call it as analog signals, which means continuous in a time. Okay. So which will be defined. So which means these analog signals are defined for any interval of time. Whereas your digital signals or data, no, it can take only finite values and it will be defined only for what discrete time intervals of time. Okay. So for example, if you take a sine wave, I mean, just a simple example, I'm just stating. If we take a sine wave, you'll be having signals from all the range from 0 to pi, 0 to 2 pi. So the signal values exist for all the values of what? Theta, from anywhere from 0 to 2 pi. But if you're going to take a discrete signal, no, that's not going to be the case. So you'll be having only only at a discrete instance of time. Okay. So if any digital data, it is represented by n bit binary means, then it will be having what? How many different values? Obviously, 2 power n different values. Okay. So why I'm saying this is, in case of an A to D conversion process also, the given analog signal, it has to be divided into what? Steps of 2 power n values, where each step will be represented by any one of these 2 power n values. Okay. So moving on to this converters, no, the A to D converters, no, it can be broadly classified into 2 groups based on the technique that is involved for conversion normally. So the first group, no, it includes methods like successive approximation method. We have something called successive approximation method, counter and flash type converters. So all this comes under type 1. So the reason is the techniques usually involved in these devices, no, if suppose if any analog signal is given, it will be compared with the internally generated analog signal. Okay. So based on comparison technique, we will be able to generate which correspond digital signal. Okay. And the second group of category of A to D converters, no, they usually include integrator converters and voltage to frequency converters. So these type of in these type of categories, no. So the given analog signal, it will be converted into time or frequency, and the new parameters, no, which are from time and the frequency, no, it will be compared with known values to produce a corresponding equivalent digital signal. Okay. So repeat, we have 2 different groups or 2 different types of classifications for ATD converters based on the principle we follow. So first group, it conducts a successive approximation, counter types, and flash type of converters. So the technique used here is, if any given analog signal, it will be compared with internally generated analog signal and will be classified accordingly. So we will see in detail how it happens, how it works. Whereas in the second category, no, the given analog signal will be converted into time or frequency. And from these, no, this will be, and these parameters will be compared with known values to produce what? To digital signal. So this is the second category. Okay. So they actually know there is some trade-off between both these techniques. So based on the parameters like accuracy and speed. So the successive approximation and flash type, as the name indicates, they are much faster usually, but less accuracy. So as I said, there is a trade-off. So successive approximation and flash type A to D converters, no, they are faster but less accurate than compared to your what? Integrator and voltage to frequency type converters. Okay. And moreover, your flash type is costlier even compared to other types. Okay. And the successive approximation type converters, which are discussed now, so or they are normally used for high speed conversions, and this integrating type converters, they are used for high accuracy. So depending upon your requirement, you can choose your corresponding A to D converters. Okay. So repeat, the successive approximation type converters, they are used for high speed conversions. If speed is going to be your main parameter or requirement, then you can choose what? Successive approximation or flash type. Whereas your integrating type of converters, no, they are used if accuracy is going to be if accuracy is going to be your main parameter, then integrating type converters are going to be main type. Okay. So okay, fine. So next we will discuss about resolution. So we have a parameter called resolution. So what do you mean by resolution? Something new to you, I guess. Or do you have any idea what do you mean by resolution, or this is the first time you're coming across this term? See, am I audible or not?
Audible, sir.
Okay, okay. இல்ல மேம் டவுட்ஸ் எதுவும் வராதனால எனக்கே டவுட் வந்துருச்சு. ஒருவேளை வெளியே வந்துட்டு சும்மா பேசிட்டு இருக்கோமோன்னு.
இல்ல சார்.
ஓகே மேம், ஓகே மேம், நோ இஷ்யூஸ். Okay. So resolution, so generally, no, it's one of the parameter to decide your performance of your A to D converters. So I never say the resolution of a converter, it's nothing but the minimum analog volt value that can be represented by the digital data. So that we call it as what resolution. I repeat, minimum analog voltage value that can be represented by the digital data. So for example, if a ADC has gives n bit digital output. So I repeat, if an ADC analog to digital, so output is going to be digital, and that digital, it has n bit digital output means. Suppose if your analog input is going to be x volts, okay, if your analog input is going to be x, let it be x volts. So then the resolution you can calculate using the formula 1 divided by 2 power n into what, your x volts. Okay. So in generally, so in an ADC, this parameter is used to calculate is used as a performance parameter. So apart from this, we have another critical parameter which is also used to decide your performance of your A to D converters. So the parameter usually called as conversion time. So the easier, as the name indicates, you can able to guess what could be the definition. So the conversion time is nothing but total time which is required by the converter to convert an analog signal into its equivalent digital. So okay, so this is also another important parameter or critical parameter which decides your performance of your converters, A to D converters. Okay, apart from your resolution. Okay, so normally, the conversion time, it depends upon, as we said previously, we have two different groups and each group follows a different principle, So this conversion method also depends upon the conversion technique. The conversion time usually depends on conversion technique that we use and the propagation delay that is usually involved in various circuits. Okay. So first we'll move on to your first type of your A to D converter, successive approximation. So we have something called successive approximation A to D converter. Okay, so let me share this diagram first. Okay, so in case of your successive approximation A to D converter, it basically consists of three parts. So first part is going to be your D to A converter, and second part is going to be successive approximation resistor we have, and third part is going to be comparator. Okay, repeat, we have A to A successive approximation A to D converter. Basically, it has three parts: D to A converter, successive approximation resistor, and a comparator. So initially, in general, not only for this type of your A to D converter, in general for any microprocessor. So normally the conversion process, it will be initiated by a signal called SOC. We usually call it as start of signal. Okay, we have a signal called SOC in all the interfacing devices, A to D and D to D interfacing devices. So the initiation process will be usually, the conversion process will be usually initiated by this signal SOC from the processor to the ADC. Okay, so the signal will be generated from the processor to the ADC. So once on receiving the SOC signal, the control unit of your ADC, it will give a start command to the successive approximation register, and it starts generating a digital signal by the successive approximation method. Okay, that we have used. So the generated digital data, it will be then converted into what? Analog signal by the D to A converter. And then it will be compared with the given analog signal. So when the analog signals are going to be equal, so as I said previously, it's in successive approximation, we are going to compare. So this game is going to happen here. So when the analog signals are going to be equal, the comparator, it outputs, informs your control unit to stop generation of your digital signals. And when digital data usually that is available at is given as output to the output register. We have something called output register. So with the help of output register, we can able to get the digital data. So in addition to this, the control unit, it generates a signal to indicate the end of conversion. So signal usually called as EOC. So that will be from the process to the ADC to the processor. So this is the process that usually takes place. Okay. So the successive approximation method of conversion will tell you now, okay, because I said previously, as I said, so using the successive approximation conversion method, approximation method, I are going to generate what? Digital signals. Now we'll see how we are going to generate the digital signal using this method. So in this method, in the successive approximation method, So usually the MS3 we call it as most significant digit. So it will be usually set to 1 and all other digits will be reset to 0. Okay. So the analog signal generated for this digital data will be then compared with the given analog signal. So here initially what happens, the comparator output will be going to be high because the MSB bit is set high. So comparator output is going to be what? High. So after comparison, the output of the comparator remains in the high state if the given analog signal is higher than the generated analog signal. So otherwise, if the given signal is less than the generator signal, the output of the comparator changes from what? High to low state. So vice versa. Okay. So if the output state of the comparator changes, then the MST will be reset to 0. Otherwise, again it will be retained the same 1. Okay. So the above process, whatever we explained, so it will be repeated by setting the next higher order bit to 1. So the same process will be repeated for all the bits given. Okay. So this process is usually continued starting from your most significant digit to what? Your least significant digit. Okay. So actually when performing this process, once the higher order bits are determined, okay, as I said in the previous steps, the lower order bits will be what? Set to 0. Okay. So after one complete cycle from MST to your LST, so what happens? The data available on the successive approximation register will be digital equivalent of the given analog signal. So there is a simple way of converting a given analog signal to what? Digital signal. And we have an IC available. There is an in ready-made integrated circuit available to perform these functions, and that IC only is displayed here. So there is IC available. So it's an 8-bit successive approximation type ADC with inbuilt 8-channel multiplexer. So that IC name is ADC 0809. Okay, I repeat, the ADC 0809 is an 8-bit successive approximation type ADC. So it has a built-in 8-bit channel multiplexer feature also. So most probably means when I say it's 8-bit, this 8-bit ADC 80809 is usually suitable for interfacing with your 8086 microprocessor. Okay, so it is available in 28-pin IC in dual in package similar to 8086. There it is 40-pin. Here is going to be 28-pin. Okay. So it is almost, we'll see, so pin diagrams are given. You can just have a look at it. So pin number 1 to 5, sorry, 1 to 5, as well as pin number 26 to 28. So those pins are nothing but IN0 to IN7. So which means what? So these are the 8 single-ended analog input to ADC. So it's input pins. Okay. So 8 single-ended, so that's why I call it a single-ended analog input to ADC. Okay. And then we have pin number 23, 24, 25 as ABC. So any idea how what could be this pins ABC? See, obviously it's an 8-bit character. So when I say 8-bit, obviously we need what? 3-bit binary input. So that's what here. So this ABC nothing but 3-bit binary input to select what? One of the 8 analog signals for conversion at any given time. So these, I think, hope you would have studied multiplexer. Should be having 3 select lines with 8. For 8 inputs, we'll be having 3 select lines with one single output. Correct? Same concept. Here also we have what? 3-bit binary input to select this 3-bit is used to what? Select one of the 8 analog signals for conversion at any given time. Okay. And then we have pin number 22 ALE, address latch enable. So as usual, the same function only, which means this is used to latch the 3-bit address input into an internal latch. For that purpose, you use the ALE. And then we have start, pin number 6, start. So which means start of conversion pulse input. So which means when you're going to start any ADC process, the signal should be asserted high and then what? Low. So normally the signal should remain high at least for minimum of what? At least 100 nanoseconds. Then only this process will start. And followed by pin number 10, we have clock signal. So clock input and frequency of the clock. Normally here for ADC 0809, the range is going to be what? Between 10 kilohertz to 1280 kilohertz. Okay. And average clock input is going to be what, 640 kilohertz. Okay, you can just make a note of it, 640 kilohertz. And pin number 12 and 16. So V reference plus and V reference minus, which means reference voltage input. Okay, so the positive reference voltage can be less than or equal to what your VCC VCC value which is going to set, and the negative reference voltage can be greater than or equal to your ground voltage. Okay, and then we have data pins. Okay, so data output pins. So D0 to D7. So we have 8-bit digital output. So the reference voltages will decide the mapping of this analog input to corresponding digital output. And we have EOC signal, end of conversion. So like your SOC, we have a start end pannathukku. So end of conversion. So which means what? This signal will be asserted high by the ADC to indicate the end of conversion process. Okay. So in addition to this pin, you can also use it as an interrupt signal to processor, this EOC pin. Okay. And then what pin is left? OE. So output buffer enable. So OE is something with output buffer enable. So normally the signal, this pin is used to read the digital data from the output buffer. So only after getting a valid end of EOC signal. Okay. So after this EOC signal, you can enable this pin which can be used to read the digital data from the output buffer. Okay. And VCC, as I said previously, it's going to be a power supply pin with plus 5 volt, and ground it's again a power supply pin with 0 volt. Okay, so this is the process usually that happens. Okay, so what could be operation that happens or that takes place here? So in operation, similarly, see here we have what? We have 8-channel multiplexer. So this 8-channel multiplexer, it can accept what? 8 analog inputs. So in the range from 0 to 5 volt. Okay. So and it will allow 1 by 1 for conversion depending upon the 3-bit input address. So I have 3 signals ABC. So where we are going to only select only one of the 8 possible analog inputs for conversion. Okay. So how we are going to select means suppose ABC. So we'll be having 8 combinations. If it is going to be 0, 0, 0, which means what? We are going to select the channel IN0. If it is going to be 0, 0, 1, so select channel IN1. If it is going to be 1, 1, 1, so you're going to select channel IN7. So in that way, you're going to select only any one of these 8 analog inputs for conversion. Okay. And then the successive approximation, as I said previously, it performs what? 8 iterations. Since it's an 8-bit, it performs what? 8 iterations. So to determine your digital code for given input value. Okay. And then at the end, so the SAR is something like a successive approximation register. So it will be reset usually on the positive edge of your start pulse, and the starter conversion process on the falling edge of your start pulse. Okay. So as I said previously, a conversion process will be interrupted only on receiving a new start pulse, and similarly. The end of conversion signal, it will go low only between after 0 to 8 clock pulses after the positive edge of your start pulse. Okay. So once after positive edge of your start pulse, we'll be having minimum of 0 to 8 for an 8-bit. Then only the end of conversion signal goes low. Okay. So there is the process that happens in that takes place in case of your 8088. So next, moving on to your D to A converter. Okay. So similar to D to A converter also. So as I said previously, your microprocessor. So basically, a microprocessor system can produce only digital outputs, digital signals. Okay. So, but in many applications, if you see, means the microprocessor has to produce analog signals for controlling certain analog devices. When such is the case, so we need to convert. There is a need to convert your digital signals to analog signals. So when in those situations, we need So D to A converter. So which means a DAC has to be employed. Okay, so exact opposite of your ADC. Okay, so the DAC, it will accept as a reverse. So nothing much. So it will be exact reverse process of this ADC. So which means what? Digital to analog. So it's going to accept a digital or binary input and convert to analog voltage or current, depends. Okay, so every DAC, it will be having n input lines and then analog output. Okay, since it is an DAC, will be having n input lines and corresponding analog output. So here also no, the DAC requires a reference analog voltage, usually called as a V reference, or sometimes it may be a current reference current I reference, okay, as source. So here அங்க பார்த்த மாதிரி இங்கேயும் அது we have a parameter called critical parameter like conversion time and your resolution. So the smallest possible analog value that can be represented by the n bit binary code, we call it as what? Resolution. Okay. So the resolution no, for a DAC with an n bit binary code is going to be what? 1 by 2n of your reference input reference signal. Okay, so multiplied with your same case as I said previously. Here also same case. So 1 by 2 power n into what? X, which is X is something but your input voltage. Okay. So the maximum input digital signal will have an analog value which is equal to what? Reference analog value, okay, minus your resolution. Okay. And now we'll see what are the classifications of your D2A converters. We have two broad classifications. Here, no, the D2A converters, you know, normally, no, you can basically classify into what? Three different categories. So they are going to be your current output, voltage output, and multiplying type DAC. I repeat, we have three broad categories of D2A converters: current output type converters, voltage output type converters, and multiplying type DAC converters. Okay. So the current output DAC provides analog current as output signal. So another we call it as what? Current output. So output signal is going to be current. In voltage output, in our so the analog current, no, again output is going to be current only, but it will be internally converted into what? Voltage signal. So those type of devices only called as what? Current output type devices. Okay. So and then last type we have multiplying type DAC. So in this case, no, the output is given by the product of the input signal and reference source. Repeat, in multiplying type, failure multiplying, which means the output is going to be product of your input signal and the reference source. Okay, wow. So normally this product is going to be linear over a broad range. So basically, if you see the principle of operation, there is not much difference between these three types. Okay. So almost similar to your what? Okay, fine. Similar in operation. So if you are thorough with any current type, then obviously you can able to understand the remaining two operations. Okay. Okay. First, we'll see a simple block diagram we have seen. Okay. So as we discussed about in A to D, simplest type of A to D is your successive approximation type. So here also we have a simplest type, okay, or a basic component of a DAC, you know, is going to be a resistor network. So that's what we have shown this diagram. So we have going to take, I'm going to consider a resistive network with appropriate values, switches, and in addition to that, we need a reference source and a current to voltage converter. So all these are needed, okay. So the switches, as you know, what is the purpose of a switch? Or okay, fine. So I'll tell you. Let me explain. So normally the switches that are used in this D2A converter, no, it can be at any simple transistors. So I think, hope you know that the transistor will function as a switch. So I'm going to use these transistors as switches, so which connects the resistance either to the ground or to reference voltage. For that purpose, I'm going to use what? Switches. Okay. It's like similar to normal switch that we use at home, okay, on and off. So here also we are going to use these switches to connect the resistance either to what? Ground or V reference. Okay. So the resistors, no, are connected in such a way that for any possible binary input, no, the total current it is going to be is total current. So usually represented by symbol called I suffix T. So is in what? Binary proportion. Okay. So and then either I can use what? Op amp, or I can use what? Your transistors. So here I'm going to use an operation amplifier. So which converts the what? The current to a voltage signal. Okay, we know. Okay. So again, there is a formula to calculate this voltage signal. I think, hope you studied this op amp, some basics about op amp in your BEEE. Okay, basically how the op amp performs. And then if you see means, so similar to your ADC, like we have an integrated IC, no? Here also we have an IC which performs this digital to analog conversion process. Okay. So one such IC is nothing but your DAC 08000. DAC 0800, okay, 0800. So it's from a national semiconductor manufacturer. So it is a best example of an 8-bit DAC. Okay. So it's an 8-bit again. It's a high-speed current output type. So as I said, we have 3 different output types. No. So out of these type, this DAC 0800 is going to be what current output DAC. So we have a settling time. Settling time means a conversion time. So of approximately around 100 nanoseconds. So which means just imagine for an 8-bit binary input, it's going to convert the into analog within 100 nanoseconds. Okay. So output of this DAC 0800 is going to be a complementary current output. So which means what? You can convert it into voltage by using any simple resistor load. So V is equal to I by R. Okay, so you can with that you can use. So V is equal to IR. அது மாதிரி யூஸ் பண்ணி convert பண்ணிக்கலாம். Okay, so it is available. This DAC is available in a 16-pin IC. Again, same dual in package. So if you see the pins, you can just discuss about the pins. Okay, so here it is given. So if you see the pins, now it's a 16-pin. As I said previously, we have 16 pins. So out of these 16 pins, D0 to D7 are going to be your digital input data. I out. So I out, you can able to guess it's going to be a current output. Okay, analog current output. And I out bar is also available. So pin number 2. So I out bar is nothing but complement of your output current. So as I said, it's a complementary output. So we have V plus, V minus, pin number 14 and 15. So which means negative power supply and positive power supply. We have compensation, COMP, which means the compensation voltage. I'll tell you what is the compensation voltage during the conversion process. And then we have VLC. I think VLC pin number 1 is going to be a VLC, which means your threshold control. We call it as a threshold control pin. And last we have V reference plus and V reference minus, which means a positive reference voltage and negative reference voltage. So all these pins are available. And your pin number D0 is going to be a LSD, least significant digit, and pin number D7 is going to be a MSD, most significant digit. Okay. So as I said previously, since in the pin diagram we had both positive and negative supply, so which means it indicates that what DAC DAC 0800 requires both positive as well as what negative power supply. So both will be in the range of plus or minus 5 to plus or minus 18. So it depends upon the type. So it can be directly interfaced either with your TTL, CMOS, or PMOS, or any other logic families you can use. Okay. Suppose if you're going to use TTL, means the threshold pin level should be tied to ground. So the VLC, which I said previous threshold level, I said no, that pin is going to be what? 0. So normally we go with TTL only. So in that case, now the pin VLC it should be connected to ground. Okay, and the reference voltage and the digital input will decide the corresponding output, analog output current. So which can be converted into voltage by using connecting a simple resistor to the output terminal. Okay, so this is what I said previously. Okay. So okay, fine. So with this, I'll stop discussing about your A to D and D to A converters. I think still we have a few more interfacing devices, applications, case studies that we need to be discussed. So most probably we'll discuss in your next session, tomorrow session, not today. And okay, just a minute.